This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, now let's continue our session. The last session, what is that we are discussing? Functions, right? Scala functions. Today we'll talk more about the important things in Scala. In the last session, I was talking about parameterized functions, and then we have seen some tasks doing on that. We'll continue with the same today. There are few more things we need to understand from functions. 1 minute, just be online, guys. I am getting a call. Yeah, sorry, guys. Let's continue. We have finished till recursion in the last session. We need to we need to move a little further today. And let's talk about function parameters. There are different other things like default parameters. We have discussed in that parameterized. Again, there are some default parameters and named parameters, and then where args. There are different types. We'll see one by one now. Let's get a quick idea. Scala supports these as well. When you talk about default, what is default? It's very simple. See, if you look at this, what are parameters? Parameters are something which we declare within parentheses, right? Can you see this now? These are parameters. And then, so far, with what are the programs we have done with functions, we have seen one thing. What is that? We declared variables as parameters or as arguments, right? But one thing is, we didn't declare them, we didn't initialize them then and there itself, here itself. Can you see this? I didn't initialize here itself, if you observe. And this is not valid in many languages. Suppose you go to Java, I don't see at least until 1.7, Java 1.7. Sorry to bring in Java, just giving you a quick overview on that. And even when you go to C sharp, I'm not sure on C sharp. Even C, we don't have default arguments concept, but C++ has that, Python has that, and even Scala has that. What are these? You declare values when you declare the parameters itself. You initialize when you declare parameter itself, and these such values we call it as default values, and these are useful if you are not passing any values to parameters. So what is the point here? If at all, if you are not passing any parameters to a function, then default values are automatically substituted or used otherwise. They are utilized. You got this right? And this is what we call, what do you call this, folks? Default parameters. Excuse me. Is it clear to all of you? Now you can test this example. Suppose you see this. When I pass 15, 12, then it will take, this is sum of two numbers. This is scalar. When I just declare a logic like that, it means we are doing sum here. And at the same time, I am returning the whole result at a time. I told you, you don't need to use return statement in Scala. You remember, right? Last session, I taught this. Yes, sir. So this means you are doing addition. And at the same time, you are returning the value of this logic or value of this operation. Okay. Now, when you look at this code, this is the function. And what we are doing here, I am calling this function by passing two values, 15 to, then these values, these parameters will be overwritten with what I am passing. Can you see this? In the second case, I am just passing only one. Then the second value will be used as default. The first one will be overwritten with the whatever the value I am passing. The third one, I am not passing any value from the caller, means by default it uses defaults. And based on that, what would be the answer result here? Could you tell me? What would be the result in the first case? And what would be the result in the second case? What would be the result in the third case? Could you please just could you please answer this? No, in the first case, the answer is 17. In the second case, the answer is 15. In the third case, the answer is 0. Let's test it. You got it right? Excuse me, guys. It's not corona, don't worry. No, I'm just kidding, but take it serious, guys. Corona is very dangerous. Now you see this, guys. Yeah, I'm in Hyderabad only, Srikant. Let's continue to this discussion. As discussed, right? What happens here when we run this? Already we have a clear discussion about everything, about when we call a function, how this caller works, and then how it is initialized to a resultant variable. And we have a detailed discussion in the last class. Still, anybody has any doubt on that? I think I should upload last session video. That is the only pending video we should upload. If you have any doubt today, I will immediately upload after session. You can go and check on that video. Still, if you have questions, don't hesitate, ask me, because the more you learn, the better I feel happy. Okay. Now, shall I run this now? Can you see this now? Perfect. This is what we have analyzed. This is what we assumed to be the result, and that is what the result is. Correct, right? So that's about defaults. What is defaults here? Default values are the values which are substituted if you are not passing any values through caller, provided these are applicable only for parameterized functions, not for default functions, because default functions anyhow don't have any parameters. All of us know this. Yes, sir. Clear, right? And order of passing, right? Always when you have two, the first one come to the first parameter, second one come to the second parameter. Suppose I am passing only one here, then this is always passed to the first parameter. Got it right? So order is the same order. In whichever the order you pass the parameters, in the same orders the values are assigned here, and this value get overwritten when you are passing a value through caller. Because why I am stressing on this is many people don't know that this value gets overwritten. That analysis at memory level we have to understand. That is very important. Okay, right. So I think I am done with the default values. How about you? Are you clear now? These are the concepts, guys. This come, you can see this in many ways. Okay, in many places, in many websites, or in many codes, you can observe this in different areas. Next one. After this, the next one is named parameters. Excuse me. Named parameters. Okay. Now you see this now. You see this example. When you are observing this example, while passing values through color, I'm initializing the value to a variable here. Can you see? There is a named parameter here. What do you mean by this? Means whenever we are passing parameters, you see here, this is my function. Okay, I'll explain with an example. Let me take an example. I don't want this much big function. Take simple m1. And also here also I'll just make it as a m1. I'll modify it m1, so it's easy to quickly see that. Okay, m1 m1. Okay, now this time there is a problem. Assume that I am doing some subtraction. I am assuming this should be sent to 15 should be sent to A and 2 should be sent to B. Now when I say A minus B, it is fine. Okay, in this case I don't have any issue. This works fine for me. Okay, this is fine. 15 minus 2 13 and 15 minus 0 15, 0 minus 0 0, that is fine. Suppose I am doing like this. This is 2, this is 15. But what I am assuming is, I am assuming 2 must be passed to B, 15 must be passed to A. That is my assumption. That is my wish. What is my wish is I should pass 15 to A, 2 to B. Is it possible in this case? Yes, sir. Is it possible? No. Now, when I run this, what is the output you get? Minus 13 and then again 15 0. Yes, right? But I want it to be the other way. What is that? Then I want it 15 to be assigned to A and 2 to be assigned to B. Then what should I do? Here I don't have a choice. These are just positional parameters, where by default the values are passed based on order of parameters. Okay. Now I have a choice here. Then I can say like this. I can go for named parameters here, so that I can pass values in any order through color. Whatever the order in color doesn't matter, but what is the parameter name you are choosing there is important. So based on that, now A is assigned to 15 and B is assigned to 2. This time what is that? I get my output as all positives. Now 15 minus 2, 13. And I don't get minus 13 here. Can you see this? Can you see any difference in the output now? So what is this named parameters doing here? What is it doing, guys? Named parameters make sure that your value is passed to a specific variable without any confusion. That is what the advantage of having named parameters. But it's up to you whether to choose named parameters or not. But when you use named parameters, definitely named parameters increases the readability of the code. Clear, right? And you don't have any confusion when you are passing values. Is this clear for all of you folks? Clear or not? I didn't get any answer. That's about that. The another important topic here is what is that important topic? Higher order function. There is a bit of confusion to many people here, but I don't mean that I am not scaring you here. We will try to give some 3 to 4 no, 4 goes here. We'll try to understand this clearly. This is one of the famous interview question for Scala. Many people ask you about higher order functions and lambda functions. This is one area when people talk about Scala interview questions. Even I ask the same question in my interviews. When I talk about Scala, this is what I ask. And when we ask, the easiest thing is giving the definition, but the difficult part is explaining with example. And why it's difficult? Because not exactly the concept is difficult, but understanding. So concept is not difficult, it lies in your understanding. What I mean is that if you really understand it clearly, there is no difficulty. If you don't understand, it is difficult. It is applicable for any other concept in the world. Okay. So let's have a quick analysis. I don't take much time. We will quickly have idea here. We'll directly go with the code itself. Excuse me, guys. So what is that here? Passing function as parameter in a function. That is what higher order function is. That is one thing. What is it? Pass. No, now you have seen so far. So far we have seen passing values as parameters. Okay, and then we have seen passing default values. Okay, but we didn't see passing a function itself as a parameter to another function, and that is what these higher order functions are. Higher order means passing a function to another function as a parameter is nothing but a higher order function. That is a clear definition. But anyhow, that is not difficult to understand. Now, but the way we declare this is a little bit different from declaring regular parameters. Let's clearly understand step by step. Okay, point by point. First thing. So this is where this story starts. It starts from here. This is actually a normal function. If you see here, start observe this. If I am not wrong, everybody in this session will have idea about this. Correct? But some of you might be little confused here. And this is okay, fine. This is quite common for all of us. This is not something difficult. This function call is not difficult. So this part will be fine for all of you. And this part is also fine for all of you. But this part is a bit confusing. Not for everyone, but some of you. Assume that all of us, including me. So how to analyze this now? So if you look at this example, which is at the bottom of this code. This is a very petty code, or a simple small snippet, code snippet. What I am doing in the multiply by 2 function here, what I am doing here, I am trying to multiply by 2 and taking one parameter. And what I am doing here, I am trying to multiply by 2 and returning that result. So that's what I am doing, right? Now this function just multiplies the given parameter by 2 and just return that. That is fine. Now come here. What this parameter is doing, sorry, this function is doing, this is taking 2 parameters. One, a value, a normal parameter. Second one, if you see here, this is taking a different parameter, and the return type of this parameter is any val here. What is this, sir? A return type of this is any val. What do you mean by any val here? What is any val? Do you remember when I discussed data types with you? There are 2 types of categories. Okay, the very basic, the root class is what here for all of us? What is the root for all types in Scala? Any idea? Do you remember anything from that? Do you remember the root class for all the types in Scala? We have discussed the hierarchy of data types when I have explained this data type topic. Very good, Suresh. Thank you. Any is the root class. From root class, we have two categories. You remember, right? What are those two categories? So let me just show you here. Let me show the diagram so that it's easy for you to follow. Data type hierarchy in Scala. Because you can directly understand something, but having a detailed clarity is important. This one is the official one from Scala, direct from Scala documentation. This one. Can you see this, right? So let me just maximize this. Sorry, I just switched, from the function topic to this, just to make you, just to have a quick idea on this to all of you. Can you see this here? This is the hierarchy of data types. And if you see here, any is the root, and it has two childs. This is inheritance. We'll talk with this in OOP, object-oriented programming. It has two child classes, any val and any ref. Now, when you look at this parameter, why I came to this point is because the parameter here, the function, this function is any val. Can you see this now? This is any val. Are you following? Means this can return, this can accept any type of value. It can be anything. Okay, it is need not to be a int or float or double, but it can return, it can accept anything from the parameter. Okay, so that is one thing you have to understand. So now, how this function is going to work? Let's have a quick idea on this. Got it right? Means any value means it might return, it might receive any object, means any value type here. Remember this. That is one thing. Now you look at the hierarchy. So can you see this? Any val can be any of these types. Can you see this? It can be any of these types. It's not restricted to any specific type of value. That is one thing. Now this is clear, right? Let me switch back to the Scala point, to this function topic. Now let's analyze this. Now we are passing 25. That is obviously received to this. Now we are passing multiply by 2, and that is received to this. Can you see this now? And this is going to receive that multiply by 2 here. Now after that, what I am doing, I am saying what I am saying here, f, if you see here, f, this is a name of the parameter. On top of f, I am calling, I am passing a parameter f of a here. Can you see this? F of a. Are you following this? Are you following this? On top of f, I am passing a parameter. What is that parameter? A here. Observe this carefully. I will give a clarity. You don't need to confuse. Just pay attention. Now you might be wondering, so what is that? This is fine. Everybody understand. Okay, 25 is coming to A. But here at this parameter, you might be having some confusion if I am not wrong. All of you. That is right. And then, okay, assume that. Okay, for now, assume that this function name I am passing as a parameter. That must already exist. If you are passing a function name, listen carefully. This function should already exist. Keep in mind. Don't think that you can pass some random function name. It's not possible, guys. This function should already exist. That that is here. You can see that function is already there. That I am passing as a parameter. And that is received here. Observe carefully. Okay, fine. That is received by the parameter. Fine. Now, on top of that, I am saying f of a here. Means what if f do? It will take a parameter a Means when I call this f of a, I didn't complete my discussion. Still, we have to talk on this parameter. That discussion is there. Don't worry. Okay. So when I call f of a, now what f of a will do? It will implicitly make a call to this function. Means this is a function call to which function? To this function. Which function? Multiply by 2. Now what happens, sir? The value of a 25 is passed to this function, and then you are multiplying by 2, you get 25 to 50, that is returned back, and that is printed in this print statement. Till this it will be clear for all of you. Now what is the story of this parameter? Now okay, you are taking f as a parameter, and the data type of that is what? Int here, and then again you are giving something here at the right side. What is that? You are giving some data type at the right side part of this arrow mark. What is this here? Means if you look at this, can you see this? If you look at multiply by 2, this function has a parameter, right? What is the parameter of this function? Tell me the data type here. Is it int or not? This f colon int, this int here in this f colon int denotes the data type of this function. You have a parameter to this function, right? This tells what this tells, this parameter and data type tells the parameter of this function which is declared here. Is this fine? And then next, after this, any val means it is talking about a return type of this function. If I am not wrong, this any val is talking about what type of value it is returning. Got it, right? So what is it returning here? Int. You can put float or double, nothing happens. Suppose you can try, we'll come to the code and test it. What anywhere talk here? Anywhere talk about a return type that this function is returning. Can you see this now? It is a value type. Int is a value type. Here I put it as int. We will cross check it in the code. Okay, nothing to worry. Now, is this clear for all of you now? What is this parameter here? This talks about the parameter which we declare with the function, the data type of the parameter of its own, and the second part talks about the return type of this function. Is this clear for all of you? Clear or not? Now, when I say f of a, what happens, sir? Now, immediately what your compiler will do, it will check the prototype of this function f of a. This a you are passing, it will see whether this parameter type here, a int, is matching with the parameter type here or not. But how does this compiler know that what is the type of this multiply by 2 function? That is why we have declared this type here. Do you understand? Beforehand itself, we have mentioned the type of a should be what? Int type, and the return type should be any val. Any val means any kind of value like int, float, double, all. Got it, right? This is the clear understanding of how this higher order function work here. Understood? I think after having this discussion, still if anybody has a confusion, you can raise your voice. You can raise your question. Anybody has any question on this now? This is a bit of confusion to many people because understanding what this exactly this parameter is doing here is important. Understood now? Other things are simple, pretty straightforward. Only Vinod says yes. What about others, guys? Anybody has issue? Are you stuck anywhere? Now, why don't we test this once? Shall we test it? You can take any, you can see any such examples. It's not like this is the only example we need to follow. Maybe you can ask anyone. Here people get confused. You can go and check, somebody knows Scala. Still, there is a confusion at this point. Okay? Not for us. That's why I told you. If you have such issue, you tell me, then I'll make it clear today itself. And still, if you want to, we'll just we'll do one thing. We will do it ourselves, okay? So that it's easy for us to get better idea. First thing, I am declaring actual function. You can take any function, sir. Okay. So multiply by 2. I'm just taking this because we have a better analysis on this, that's all. Now, what should be the return type? We are taking in here. For now, we'll change many things here. Today, we are going to do postmortem on this clearly, so that next time you should not have any issue on higher order functions. So now, finally, just you can just say a into 10, otherwise no issues with that. So still, I am seeing some error here. What is the error? I forget to apply. Okay, fine. Now this is perfect. This is what the actual function. Now I am going for a higher order function now. So this is def. Okay, I am naming this as a test function. Okay, and this takes one parameter. You can take any variable, sir. It need not to be a always. X comma int comma, and then we need to take one more parameter. It need not to be f, guys. It can be anything. Don't think it should be f. You can put some something like g. Okay, not an issue. And you have to use some arrow mark here, which talks about the return type. So I am taking it as anyval. Soon I am going to do some cross check on that. Then colon. See, this talks about return type of this higher order function, this function. Okay. Now we have to have a return type to this function as well, right? Suppose if you return, make it that return value. If you are returning a value from this function, give that return type here. If you don't return, give it as unit. That's up to you. So what shall we do? We will return it, not an issue. Okay. Now, still we have an error because we should return value. How do I return? I should say some like g of x here, g of x. Okay. Then this returns something for me, and we have to initialize that to some variable. So what should I do now? I should say some y equal to something, and then return that y here. Still, why it shows error? Because okay, I didn't declare y, right? I have to declare y. Where y colon something int. Okay, sorry, it is misplaced. Y colon int equal to type mismatch. Anyval require anyval found anyval. Okay, soon. Okay, got it. What is the error here? We are returning this function returns int. Okay, but here I am saying anyval. If I can replace this with int, my problem will be solved. Can you see that? Means anyval is not something mandatory here. We can put int. What is the return type here? Int itself. So we can put int here. That is also fine. Are you following, guys? Anywhere, if you have any problem or any doubt, immediately stop me. So why I'm coming to write code here is so that you understand what's happening in each step or every line of code we write here. Now I modified the whole program which we have here in this because I took it from website, from some random website. I don't remember, but still this is from something. Now I am rewriting it as per my testing purpose. Now you see here, if you see instead of anyval I put int. Still it's fine because this is returning int. Then I can put any int here itself. Okay, so that is fine. When I modify to int, that error is removed, isn't it? And again, this function is also returning, so I put return type of this function as int itself. Now this is the major part for us. And here this function is what a higher order function, where it has a function as parameter. This is a function. Test itself is a function, and that has a function. G is a function that itself is a parameter to that. Can you get this now? And the first part represents the type of parameter in which the function has. And the second part represents the return type of this function, not any other thing. Now we are going to call it here from main. So how do I call it? Some test of the first one is something a regular general value, comma. Second parameter is a function itself is the parameter to the second one. Okay. Then this returns a value. What should I do now? Should I initialize to any local variable or can I run it directly? Is function is returning anything? Main is returning anything here. So what do you do right now? It doesn't return anything. If it doesn't return anything, it is what? Unit. Okay. Usually the return type of main will be unit only, guys. I didn't test with some other data type, but now as I am talking to you, I have this curiosity just to see whether this will accept any other return type other than unit. Okay. Okay, assuming this will directly return to the command line. We will see. We'll just test it. If provided, if you don't get any, probably JVM doesn't accept that. I'm suspecting that. Can you see this now? Now, when I say run as, I'm not even finding Scala application here. Why? Because as per custom standard, this has to be always unit. Then your JVM will agree. Suppose if I modify it with any other return type, then it won't agree. This is one important point. Observe. Okay. Now what is that? You might put unit or you don't put. No issues, because if we don't declare any return type, then it is by default int. This we had discussed. All of you know this. Now finally, we came to a conclusion that main doesn't allow any other return type. That is one more new point. And then the only possible choice for me is okay, just declare one extra variable here, something like result equal colon some int equal to, just initialize your caller to this local variable. That is the best choice. And then finally what you have to do, just say println of a result here. Okay, so what do you do finally? What's the output we get now? Analyze and tell me what output we get now. There is so much of uh, functions here. How about others? How about others, guys? I got from Vinod and Harish and Veera and Suresh. Do you agree this is 450? Can you see it now? 450, perfect. Are you good with higher order function now?
Manohar, I have a question.
Yes, please.
Bharat Bhushan here. How can I pass two parameters to multiply by 2?
You want to pass two parameters?
Right. I just tried over here, but I failed it. So just want to ask you.
Okay. You want to pass two parameters. Let me try this. That's a good question. So before going to this, okay, I'll talk on Bharat thing. All of you are good till this point? Okay, let's assume this level 1. Okay, level 1 is clear for all of you? Okay, fine. Then we are moving to level 2. One of our folks has asked me a good question. So what if I should pass two values? That is his question. Okay, I'll do one thing there. Let me take one more parameter like AB. And if that is the case, I'll do one thing there. Scala has different ways of doing things. Yes, definitely. Mayur has came up with some answer. You are going with the lambda approach. Still, I didn't discuss lambda part. But still, what I do is for now, I will try to add it. Whatever I'm seeing from a colon int, I'm just directly taking a itself. But it's not like, I told you local variables of one function are different from another function. Don't get confused. Variable names can be anything. b colon int arrow mark of. So this is one option. But this is not working for us. There is something I have to change here. This is not working. Okay. I'll check and update Bharat. Okay. I don't want to waste much time here, but we'll see this in tomorrow's session. Anyhow, I need to explore it once.
Sorry, Manohar. My intention is not to question you. I just want to explore. That's what.
No. There is nothing wrong, Bharat. See, we are developers, right? So the question is good for me. It's a learning for me as well. Don't think in that way.
Okay, fine. Thank you. And one more question. May I know what is the advantage of this one, higher order functions?
You know, when you go to the Spark programming, you know, I'm talking from Spark perspective. Okay. So there are different functions where we need to solve logic. Suppose you take map function or flat map, or there are many other things like that. So what happens is whenever you are trying to work with them, internally map itself work as a filter for us. You get this point? One thing. Are you getting this, Bharat?
Yes, Manohar.
On top of that, when you are iterating that map function, internally some logic has to happen. Okay, and that result has to be appended somewhere. Okay, we'll talk about it in Spark. So in that, instead of writing a a function, and then directly passing it to that and then that function you need to again call it through map function, and that map will go to the function and come from there, go to the function, and then there will be a lot of switching between that. That is one thing. And also the length of the code increases when you write a customized function. Okay, I will again remind this in when we do the Spark code. But the same thing you can minimize with lambda functions. What functions? Lambdas. So this program anyhow we will rewrite with lambdas. The advantage is when you have a lambda as a parameter, you can directly do the optimization. That is one thing. Second thing is instead of writing a whole length of lines of code here, we can simplify that with lambdas. So these higher order functions are very useful when you are using this lambdas as a parameter, so that what happens, the performance is going to increase and the optimization is going to improve here. That is actually the whole what do you call the background or the black box thing about higher order functions. Understood?
Got it, Manohar. Thank you.
Yeah, still I know there are in bits and pieces how you might want some answers. When we move to the otherwise even in Scala, when we go to the collections, I will show you in collections itself, like this map or this flat map. There are many other collection related functionalities where they highly dependent on this kind of higher order functions. That takes function as parameter to another function, so that it will leverage the functionality. Okay, and there will be also, you see, when you look at it, you have actually the modularization here. If you observe here, there is a clear modularization. That is one thing. Second thing is another important thing you observe here is when you pass it a function itself as parameter, what is that? You are reducing that calling sequence. You are minimizing the calling sequence between one function to another function. You understand? Like if you ask me, suppose if I don't have this, first what should I do? I should call multiply by this function. This will return some result, and that result I have to call to this, and then I have to pass it to this one, and this might again call something else. So there will be what is that extra calling chains has to be used here. Are you following this? But with the higher orders, we can minimize that colors, number of colors, and the way we pass values, and then the way we do the performance, all this matters here. Is it clear, Bharat?
Yes, Manohar, it's clear. Thank you.
It's a little deeper question what you are asking. So, but we'll do one thing. When we go to the collections in Scala, definitely we will do an R&D on one example. Okay.
Okay.
We'll take an R&D. We
Thank
don't
you.
leave it. And please keep asking questions. I don't mean that in the other way. So it's part of learning for everyone.
Sure.
I have one question.
Yes, please. Who is that?
Yeah, Madhu here.
Yes,
So
Madhu.
we are calling here a test function, right? So when you call test function with two parameters, so one is 45, one is multiply by 2. Okay,
Okay.
so I understand that 45 will be mapped to that x parameter, that is an integer. But
True.
another argument, that is a multiply by 2, that
Correct.
is also going to map to g parameter.
Correct.
But
Exactly.
what data type we have declared as int.
We'll do one thing, Madhu. That's a good catch. Thank you. I'll do one thing. I'll take two parameters, one x and the other one z colon int. That's a good catch, Madhu. Thank you. But still, I see the issue here. But whatever you are saying is there. That is fine. And probably you are expecting this here, comma z. This point is clear, right? This is one thing you are expecting. There is something I have to add to this, Madhu.
No,
But
that is fine. That is fine actually. G of x. When we say
okay.
that g of x, the g is nothing but a multiply by 2, and so we are passing their argument as x. X is nothing but a 45. It is absolutely fine.
Correct. I understand your
But
point.
here the thing is, we are passing multiply by 2. If you ask me, that is nothing but a string at this point of
Correct.
time. But the string is mapping to G, but G is declared as int.
So you mean that's a good catch. If I put string here, there is something we are getting out of this. Correct, Madhu. That's actually outstanding thing for us. But when I declare it as string, okay, we will. This is what The 1 minute. Give me a minute. I hope it's not problem for others, right? Others are fine, right? And we are just trying to little get deeper into that, deep into the water of that. Is it fine for all of you, or still you feel boring here? No, this is good for us. This is like good use case to get more into the discussion. Usually we don't find few things in the internet or in the websites or YouTube channels, and this is a discussion thing which helps us. Okay, Madhu, there are two things I am missing here, as you are bringing very good points here. Okay, I pass two parameters. That is one thing as per the demand of this function. Okay, second thing is also I am declaring two parameters. That is also fine. But when I immediately changed this to string, what's happening here is it is expecting this to be a string actually. Can you see that? It is saying int of see, you can see that. Okay, this is a good thing to understand. The parameter here is a lambda. It is taking a lambda function here, and it should look like this. It should take two integers within this parenthesis. Okay, that is fine. But we are passing string, it is not accepted. The actual thing is it has to be like this, Madhu. Okay, it has to be like this. Something like we can also take like this, I hope. Let me put cursor here. Int comma int. Okay, you can take it like this as well. Nothing wrong in that. You can also declare like that. Okay. Then the return type can be like this. That is also fine. And then, but only thing is how to get name here. That is what I am looking for. This will. And we cannot have like this. Okay.
Maybe in previous example that any val is there, right? That any val, so it represents all, right? All data types.
Correct. Talks about all data types.
All data types.
Now, when you okay, let me put G here. Let us see if we can somehow is
Here Z is not required, I think so, because
no. Z is required, right? This function takes 2 parameters, not 1 parameter.
no. If I am not wrong, so here A we are passing as a argument to that multiply by 2 function.
Correct. But this time multiply by 2 has
Okay, 2 parameters. Okay, fine. Yeah.
I think we modified it when Bharat has asked this question. So that's what
Mm.
this has a bit of exploration here, Madhu. What we do is maybe after the session I will just check it and update on this. Okay.
Yeah, sure. No issues.
So because as you are giving me the inputs, I want to check on your input so that if we get any break, but observing the pattern, I think we need to just quickly explore and then I think tomorrow or definitely we'll talk on this. Okay. I'll get back to you on this tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Like if you have 2 parameters somewhere long back, I think I have gone through this, but that's a long time back. So I will explore and update tomorrow. Fine, right? But before this level 1, I
Yeah.
told you till that point, all of you are clear. Leo, this part we'll talk tomorrow. I'll give clarity on this. Yeah, I tried Mayur.
Okay, let's move ahead.
Yeah, I tried this, but
I said let's move ahead.
Yep. I understand. Yeah. So already it's 9:30 for us. I would have continued. That is working for you? Okay, f colon int comma. Okay. Then we have to do like this. Then one small change. Mayur has come up with some little quick update, which is working example. I think we are almost near to the solution. But when you give this as a first parameter, you see some luck there, and also, and how you are calling that, Mayur? How do you call it? Can you ping me the caller as well? Caller. You have pasted the code, that is okay. Something like 2545. And then we can also say A into B into 10. That is also fine. Then I tried this. Okay. As per that, okay, let me do one thing. Let me remove the data type here. So it will decide, let it decide its own data type as per return type we provide here. Then I took, let me pass it as something like AB. Let me try if it is expecting same parameters. No, just a workaround, quick workaround.
Remove the comma after B int.
Yeah, one more last. Yes, correct. Let me remove this. Oh, that's excellent, right? So, and here the return type here also has to be what? Any val. I think we succeeded here, guys. We got break. I hope. I am assuming we're almost there. Don't initialize. Don't declare any data type. So I think we are successful. Mayur, thank you. Madhu, thank you. Bharat, thanks for asking this question. So finally, we got solution here. I'm sure we should get 25 into 45 into 10. Somebody has to tell me the answer. If not, let's quickly. Perfect. I think this should be the output, right? Please check it once. Thanks Mayur, and thanks Madhu and Bharat as well. So is it fine now with 2 now you can try for 10 parameters also.
Yes.
What Bharat, what do you say?
Yes, I agree. And
So
thank you all for who has given their inputs.
yes, it's called a teamwork. Today we had a great teamwork. Let's associate in the same way. Still anybody has doubts on this? Maybe I think I just moved it like that, but still out of my curiosity, I am again bringing back to the last as a last parameter, because I believe the order doesn't have any impact. Only thing is how the syntax matters, that's all. Something like 10 comma 10 comma multiply by, I'm changing the values here. And you see this time I didn't find any issue here. Got it right? And then when you have multiple parameters, also let me try this, keeping it as int. Does this has any impact here? This time I didn't see any impact. And then also earlier I see some issue here. Let me make it as typed one instead of making it implicitly typed. Let me see if does has that any val has any impact here, because Madhu has a question on that as well. So I just want to make sure. And return type here is what int. So I think Madhu, I think any val is not something necessary also, right? So this is, you can see it's not like we need any val, but point is I have a question for all of you before we depart today. When do we should use any val, or if you don't use any val, how do you declare this return types here? Do you observe that difference here? Did you see that difference, guys? Sometimes I'm using any val, sometimes we are not using any val. I modified without any val here. Do you get that point? When we should keep it any val, or when we can keep it like other value type, exclusive value type? Is that clear for all of you? I think you are having your dinner, right? Without answering my question. Am I correct? Come on, guys. All of you are clear. I know. Okay. When you have a mixed type, it is any val. But usually, keep in mind, most of the time when you work in a real-time code, people don't keep mixed types. Usually, it will be all ints or all float or double. It's a very rare that we have a mixed type. Okay. Is that point clear? But your point is correct. That is a valid point, valid answer also. Whatever you said, it's also correct, because when you don't know which type to return, any val is the best one. Even Veera also is also saying the same. See, this is a great understanding for all of us. It's not just for you, even for me also, because we are trying to explore into the new dimension. Got it right? Understood now. Still, if you have questions, please throw the questions so that we can solve it. I'm very happy that we come up with the proper output here. Is it fine? Tomorrow is Bugadi, right? Are you guys okay to join session? Because okay, you want this to be any val? Okay, Harish, no issues. Not an issue, Harish. There is nothing wrong. Are you in front of machine or what? Or not? Are you guys testing the code or not? There are a couple of questions for all of you. I told you, right? Every session, keep working with me. Don't just observe, but you also test it with me. That is very important. See, why you get this error here? Because this is returning any val, and the type here has to be any val. You cannot put it into here, because any val is a bigger class. It's a bigger object than val. That's why we cannot have we cannot have than int. We cannot have int here. If the return type is any val, don't put int here. It has to be any val. But suppose if the return type is int here, still we can have any val. That is fine. You understand this? We can pass int to any val, float to any val, double to any val, okay, or any other value type to any val, but reverse is not possible. I taught you this. We can pass smaller to, this is called upcasting and downcasting. So when you pass int to any val, it's upcasting, but when you pass any value to int here, if you see here, this is downcasting. Downcasting is not implicitly supported. You have to go for casting. You have to remember all these things as well. They might be handy for you when you are doing some coding. Okay. So here, this is downcasting. Don't worry, this error will come. Then how do you fix this? How you are going to fix this? Tell me. So there is something like int dot as something as instance of, then we have to pass this to the a whole bracket here, and then what you have to do, put a bracket at the right side as well, because this is the function is itself is like that. Still I see an error. What is the error? Not found type tester. This is not a built-in one, right? Sorry. We can do like this then. It is not working like this. We have to go for casting, no doubt about that. What I need is the result has to be int. So don't pass it directly then. Just giving an idea how to convert it back. Value sum r1 equal to okay, let me pass this r here. If you want to be exclusive int, okay, as instance of this should work. So where we have got this, you know, this is what usually we do when you are working on a project, right? Just let me see if I am missing any syntax quickly. Object dot as instance of class, that is fine. We are doing also same. So we are doing object, okay. Object instance, then I should use r dot. So this is the mistake. Okay, this is my object. This time it's working. Similarly, I can also try like this, right? What is that? I'm just this is my object dot is the color as instance of. Can I try this with direct one shot go? So this is fine, right? Let me run this. So now this is what you have to do if you are going for downcasting. Perfect. Downcasting, you have to do this this one. I think Harish is asking this question. Harish, is it fine now? When you go like that, by default,
Yes,
it's not. We have every step recorded here. Okay, are you guys testing, right? So please be testing with me. That is going to help you more. Is it fine now? So when you go like this, you have to do like this. Okay, this is a good session today. Thanks for all of you. Any questions? Okay, guys. Tomorrow, I think I am asking something. It's Ugadi. Do you find? Are you fine to attend session tomorrow? I don't have any problem because no, I don't have a family. I am a bachelor. But how about you? Do you want? Shall we take a break tomorrow, or shall we have a session? Tomorrow is anyhow festival. We'll be in festival. Shall we do from Thursday?
Let's have a break.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, we'll take session on Thursday because anyhow we'll be occupied with something. Okay, fine, guys. We'll meet Thursday. Thank you, guys.